My beautiful chaos seekers, look who's here. You know what I find absolutely fascinating? The way people stare at you now. Oh yes, I see it. That look in their eyes. That wide-eyed, jaw-dropped, what the hell just happened expression. It's beautiful, isn't it? You see, there was a time when they used to look at you differently. Remember that? When you were just another face in the crowd. Another predictable little soul following the same boring patterns. They had you figured out. Oh, they thought they knew exactly what you were capable of. They put you in their neat little box, labeled it, filed it away, case closed. But then something magnificent happened. You did something they said was impossible. And suddenly their entire world shifted. The ground beneath their feet cracked. Their precious little assumptions shattered into a million beautiful pieces. Now they look at you like you're some kind of magician, like you're Houdini himself, escaping from chains that were supposed to bind you forever. They watch every move you make, waiting for the trick to reveal itself, waiting for you to slip up and show them how you did it. But here's the thing. Here's the delicious irony. There was no trick. You simply became. You transformed. You shed that old skin like a snake and emerged as something they never saw coming. Something that defies their limited understanding of what's possible. They're scared now. Oh yes, they're terrified. Because if you can do the impossible, what does that make them? What does that say about their own limitations? You know what fear does to people? It makes them dangerous. It makes them desperate. They'll try to drag you back down, pull you into their reality where dreams go to die and potential gets buried under excuses. They need you to fail because your success is a mirror showing them their own mediocrity. But here's what they don't understand, what they can't comprehend. You're not playing by their rules anymore. You've discovered something beautiful, something terrifying. You've learned that the word impossible is just an opinion, a suggestion, a challenge waiting to be demolished. Every time they said you couldn't, you did. Every time they drew a line in the sand, you crossed it. Every time they built a wall, you found a way over, under, or straight through it. And now they're looking at you like you possess some supernatural power. Like you've made a deal with forces they don't understand. The truth is, the only deal you made was with yourself. You decided to stop accepting their version of reality. You chose to believe in something bigger, something impossible. And that is what terrifies them most. They're watching you now, studying your every move, trying to decode the mystery. How did you do it? How did you escape the prison they built for you in their minds? How did you break free from the chains of their expectations? You want to know the secret? You want to know what makes you Houdini in their eyes? It's simple. Brutally simple. You stopped believing in their limitations. You stopped accepting their definition of what you could or couldn't achieve. You looked at their impossible and you smiled because you knew something they didn't. The only prison that ever existed was the one in your mind. The only chains that ever bound you were the ones you accepted. The moment you realized this, the moment you truly understood this, you became unstoppable. You became impossible. And now they watch, and they wonder, and they fear, because you've shown them something they're not ready to accept. You've proven that their comfortable little world of limitations is just an illusion, a collective agreement to stay small, to stay safe, to stay predictable. But you broke the agreement. You tore up the contract. You said no to their reality and yes to your own. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you powerful. That makes you magical. They're looking at you like you're Houdini because, in their world, in their limited understanding, what you've done is pure magic. They can't explain it. They can't replicate it. They can't control it. And that is what keeps them awake at night. You see, when someone does the impossible, it forces everyone else to question their own possibilities. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes them doubt their excuses. It makes them wonder, if you can do it, what's really stopping them? The answer is nothing. Nothing but the stories they tell themselves. Nothing but the beliefs they've inherited. Nothing but the fear they've cultivated. And that realization, that terrifying, beautiful realization, is what makes them look at you the way they do. You've become living proof that the impossible is just another word for untested. You've shown them that limits are just suggestions waiting to be ignored. You've demonstrated that the only difference between possible and impossible is belief, and the courage to act on that belief. So let them stare, let them wonder, let them fear, because every time they look at you with those wide, confused eyes, every time they shake their heads in disbelief, every time they whisper about how you did the impossible, they're admitting something profound. They're admitting that you've transcended their understanding. You've moved beyond their ability to predict or control. You've become something they never thought possible, and that something is a force they can't contain. You've become chaos in their ordered world, unpredictability in their calculated existence, and oh, how that disturbs their perfect little plans. You know what's beautiful about doing the impossible? It's not just about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. All those times you felt that stirring inside, that whisper saying you were meant for more. You were right to listen. You were right to believe. You were right to act. But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where the story takes a delicious turn. They're not just scared of what you've already done. They're terrified of what you might do next. Because if you can break one impossible barrier, what's to stop you from breaking them all? They're studying you now like scientists studying a new species, trying to categorize you, trying to understand your methods, trying to find patterns they can predict. But every time they think they've figured you out, every time they believe they've cracked your code, you evolve, you adapt, you transcend their latest theory. This is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. The ordinary mind sees a mountain and calculates the difficulty. The extraordinary mind sees the same mountain and imagines the view from the top. They see obstacles, you see opportunities. They see endings, you see beginnings. The fear in their eyes, it's not just fear of you. It's fear of themselves, fear of their own untapped potential, fear of discovering that they too could have been doing the impossible all along, if only they had dared. Your success is their judgment. Your breakthrough is their breakdown of excuses. Watch how they react when you enter a room now. The conversations that stop mid-sentence, the nervous glances, the way they pretend to be busy while stealing looks at you. They're trying to read your next move, trying to anticipate your next impossible feat. But anticipation requires logic, and what you do transcends logic. You've entered the realm where magic and reality dance together, where the impossible becomes inevitable, where dreams stop being dreams and start being plans. This is where legends are born, where myths become reality, where ordinary people become extraordinary forces. They want to dismiss you as lucky. They need to believe it was just chance, just good timing, just being in the right place at the right moment. Because if it wasn't luck, if it was something deeper, something more profound, then they have to face the terrifying truth that they've been choosing mediocrity. But you know better. You know that luck is just preparation, meeting opportunity. You know that what they call impossible was just improbable, waiting for someone brave enough to test the boundaries. You know that every breakthrough in history started with someone doing what everyone else said couldn't be done. The Roman Empire, impossible. Flight, impossible. Landing on the moon, impossible. Breaking the sound barrier, impossible. The internet, impossible. Smartphones, impossible. Until someone made it possible. Until someone proved that impossible is just another word for not yet attempted by the right person. And now you're that person. You're the one they'll tell stories about. You're the example that will inspire others to question their own limitations. You're the proof that human potential is far greater than human belief. This terrifies them because it means they've been living beneath their capabilities. It means they've been accepting a smaller version of life than what was available to them. It means they've been prisoners in a jail where the door was never actually locked. Your transformation isn't just personal, it's revolutionary. Every time you do the impossible, you crack the foundation of their limited worldview. Every time you succeed where they expected you to fail, you force them to question everything they thought they knew about success, about failure, about possibility itself. They're looking at you like you're Houdini because you've mastered the greatest escape of all. The escape from other people's expectations. You've broken free from the most sophisticated prison ever created, the prison of collective doubt. You've performed the ultimate magic trick. You've made their version of reality disappear. But here's what they don't see. Here's what they can't comprehend. This is just the beginning. What you've done so far. It's not the end of your story. It's not even the middle. It's barely the first chapter of what you're truly capable of. You see, doing the impossible once, that could be dismissed as an anomaly. Doing it twice, that raises eyebrows. But doing it consistently, repeatedly, reliably, that's when you become something else entirely. That's when you stop being human in their eyes and start being something more. Something beyond their understanding. And that's exactly where you're headed. Each impossible thing you accomplish makes the next impossible thing more possible. Each barrier you break makes breaking barriers your natural state. Each limitation you transcend makes transcendence your default mode of operation. They're watching you build momentum, gathering force, becoming unstoppable, and with each victory, each breakthrough, each moment of pure impossibility made manifest, they realize they're witnessing something historic, something they'll tell their children about, something that will change how they think about what's possible. The fear in their eyes is evolving. It started as surprise, moved through disbelief, and now it's settling into something deeper, awe, reverence, the kind of fear that comes from witnessing true power, authentic magic, genuine transformation. You've become their teacher without trying to teach, their inspiration without trying to inspire, their wake-up call without trying to wake them up, simply by being who you've become. Simply by doing what you do, you've shown them a different way to exist. Some of them will try to sabotage you. They'll spread rumors, create obstacles, attempt to bring you back down to their level. But their attacks are just confirmation of your power. Their desperation is proof of your effectiveness. Their fear, their beautiful, consuming fear, is evidence that you've succeeded in ways they never imagined possible. Others will try to copy you. They'll mimic your methods, study your techniques, attempt to reverse engineer your success. But they're missing the fundamental truth, the core secret that makes everything else possible. It's not about the methods. It's not about the techniques. It's not about the strategies or the tactics or the systems. It's about something far more fundamental, something that can't be copied or replicated or stolen. It's about the decision, the moment when you chose to stop accepting their version of reality, the instant when you decided that their limitations didn't apply to you, the second when you realized that impossible was just another opinion, and opinions can be changed. That decision, that moment of pure, unadulterated choice, that's what transformed you from ordinary to extraordinary. That's what gave you the power to do what they said couldn't be done. That's what made you Houdini in their eyes. And that decision, that magnificent, terrifying, world-changing decision, is available to anyone at any moment. But most will never make it. Most will continue to accept the comfortable prison of other people's expectations. Most will keep looking at you with those wide, frightened eyes, wondering how you escaped, never realizing that the key was always in their own hands. But you made the choice. You stepped through the door. You broke the chains. You escaped the prison. And now you're free to do things that will make today's impossibilities look like child's play. This is your power now. This is your gift. This is your destiny. And destiny is not something that happens to you. Destiny is something you create, something you forge, something you manifest through sheer force of will and absolute refusal to accept anything less than extraordinary. You want to know the ultimate secret, the final piece of the puzzle that makes you truly unstoppable. It's not just that you do the impossible, it's that you've made the impossible your natural habitat, your comfort zone, your default setting. While they're still debating whether something can be done, you've already done it. While they're calculating probabilities, you're creating certainties. While they're planning for failure, you're expecting miracles. And miracles have a funny way of showing up when someone truly expects them. This is what they fear most about you. Not just your past achievements, not just your present capabilities, but your future potential. Because they can see it in your eyes now. That hungry look, that predatory focus, that absolute certainty that this is just the beginning. They know you taste blood in the water. They know you've discovered something intoxicating about breaking through barriers that were supposed to be permanent. They know you've developed an addiction to proving people wrong, to shattering their carefully constructed limitations, to making their impossible into your inevitable. And that addiction, that beautiful, consuming addiction to transcendence, it's growing stronger with every victory. Every time you succeed where they expected you to fail. Every time you rise where they expected you to fall. Every time you break through where they expected you to break down. The hunger grows. You're not satisfied anymore with just doing the possible. The possible is boring. The possible is predictable. The possible is what ordinary people do on ordinary days in their ordinary lives. You've tasted something far more intoxicating. You've experienced the rush of making reality bend to your will. They watch you now with a mixture of terror and fascination, like watching a force of nature, a hurricane, a wildfire, something powerful and unpredictable and absolutely unstoppable. They know they're witnessing something that will be remembered, something that will be studied, something that will be legend. But here's what they still don't understand. Here's the part that keeps them awake at night. You're not done. You're not even close to done. What you've accomplished so far, it's not your peak. It's not your ceiling. It's not your limit. It's your foundation. The platform from which you'll launch into even greater impossibilities. You see, every time you break through what they thought was impossible, You don't just prove them wrong about that one thing. You prove them wrong about the entire concept of impossibility. You demonstrate that their understanding of limits is fundamentally flawed. You show them that what they call impossible is just untested possibility. And once you understand this, once you truly grasp this profound truth, everything changes. The world becomes your laboratory. Reality becomes your canvas. Impossibility becomes your raw material. You stop asking, "Can this be done?" and start asking, "How spectacular can I make this?" They're looking at you like you're Houdini because they're trying to figure out the trick. They're convinced there must be some secret, some hidden method, some clever deception that explains how you do what you do. But they're looking in the wrong place. They're searching for complexity when the answer is devastatingly simple. The trick, the secret, the hidden method is belief. Pure, uncompromising, reality-bending belief. Not hope, not wishful thinking, not positive attitude. Belief. The kind of belief that doesn't require evidence because it creates evidence. The kind of belief that doesn't wait for proof because it manufactures proof. You believed you could do the impossible before you had any reason to believe it. You acted on that belief before logic could talk you out of it. You committed to that belief before fear could paralyze you. And that is the difference between you and everyone else who's ever dreamed of doing something extraordinary. Most people need permission to believe. They need guarantees. They need certainty. They need someone else to go first and prove it's possible. But you gave yourself permission. You became your own guarantee. You created your own certainty. You went first. And now they're all following in your footsteps, trying to reverse engineer your success, attempting to decode your methods, struggling to understand how you made the leap from impossible to inevitable. But they're missing the fundamental truth that made everything else possible. You didn't figure out how to do the impossible. You decided that impossible was no longer acceptable. You didn't discover a new method. You discarded an old limitation. You didn't find a secret technique. You abandoned a false belief. The impossible was never about capability. It was about permission. It was about acceptance. It was about agreeing to stay within boundaries that were never actually there. And the moment you stopped agreeing, the moment you withdrew your consent from their version of reality, everything became possible. This is why they look at you the way they do. This is why they study you like a phenomenon. This is why they fear you like a force of nature. Because you've shown them that the only thing standing between anyone and their version of impossible is decision. One decision, one moment of absolute clarity, one instant of pure, uncompromising choice. The decision to stop accepting other people's definitions of what you can and cannot achieve. The choice to trust your own vision over their skepticism. The commitment to your potential over their limitations. And that decision, that magnificent, life-altering, world-changing decision, it's terrifying to them. Because it means they could have made it too. It means they could have been doing impossible things all along. It means they chose mediocrity when extraordinary was available. Your success is their mirror. Your breakthroughs are their breakdowns. Your impossibilities are their missed opportunities. And that is what makes them look at you like you possess supernatural powers. But you know the truth. You know there's nothing supernatural about what you do. You know you're not special in the way they think you're special. You know you don't have abilities that others lack. What you have, what you've always had, what everyone has but few ever use, is choice. The choice to believe when believing seems ridiculous. The choice to act when action seems pointless. The choice to persist when persistence seems futile. The choice to dream when dreaming seems naive. The choice to attempt when attempting seems impossible. And now that you've made these choices repeatedly, now that you've proven their power consistently, now that you've demonstrated their effectiveness continuously, you've become something they never expected. You've become proof that human potential is unlimited, evidence that impossibility is optional, living demonstration that extraordinary is available to anyone willing to pay the price. And the price, the beautiful, terrifying, absolutely worthwhile price, is giving up the comfort of other people's limitations, abandoning the safety of collective doubt, releasing the security of shared mediocrity, trading the predictable for the possible. They look at you like you're Houdini because you've performed the greatest escape act of all time, not escaping from chains or boxes or locked rooms, but escaping from the prison of accepted limitations, breaking free from the cage of conventional thinking, liberating yourself from the bondage of other people's beliefs about what you could achieve. And that escape, that magnificent, complete, permanent escape, has made you dangerous. Dangerous to their excuses, dangerous to their limitations, dangerous to their small dreams and smaller expectations. You've become living proof that impossible is just a word, a temporary label, a challenge waiting to be conquered. And every time they look at you, every time they see you doing what they said couldn't be done, they're reminded that they could be doing impossible things too. If only they had the courage to escape. If only they had the wisdom to choose. If only they had the strength to believe. But until they do, they'll keep looking at you like you're magic, like you're mystery, like you're Houdini himself. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what you are.